darling.
Well, Clarice, have the lambs stopped screaming?
Dr. Lecter.
Don't bother with the trace. I won't be on long enough.
Where are you, Dr. Lecter?
I have no plans to call on you, Clarice. The world's more interesting with you in it. So you take care now to extend me the same courtesy.
You know I can't make that promise.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner.
What is going on, movie lovers, and welcome back to 5 on It. On today's episode, we are actually joined by a fellow movie lover, a fellow friend, Jason.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And on today's episode, we are reviewing a classic film, a movie that is one of only 3 films to win the Big 5 at the Oscars. Today's episode, we are reviewing Silence of the Lamb. But before we dive any further into that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, a share, drop a comment. Is Silence of the Lamb one of your favorite films, favorite horror movies of all time? Let us know. Sir Fraser, tell the people about Silence of the Lamb.
Man, so this is directed by Jonathan Demme. The screenplay was by Ted Talley. It stars Jodie Foster, Anthony Hopkins, and Ted Levine, just to name a few. So you know what's funny? This movie was released on Valentine's Day in 1991.
Oh, it's hilarious.
And you know what's also crazy to think about it? Like, in some ways, like the interaction between Hannibal and Clarice often feels like a date. Because he's asking her all these kind of, it's the weirdest fucking first date, especially that opening one.
Well, tell me about yourself.
Yeah. But this movie, man, is one of 3 movies to win the Big 5, all the Big 5 categories. So Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Adapted Screenplay. And it's the only, I have an issue with this categorization, but it's the only horror film to have won that. I think the one before that, I think, was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I think that was the one before that.
Yeah, and then there was another one before that.
The very first one.
No, it's an older
like
film.
40s, 50s movie, was it?
I brought it up. I can look it up while you guys are discussing that.
But yeah, I mean, this movie was dropped, and also just to take a step back, like 1991 was a crazy year. There was like a lot of good movies. Like, you had Boys in the Hood.
Let me interrupt you real quick.
City, Secrets of the Ooze, baby. The 5 Heartbeats. Like, Thelma and Louise.
Well, I mean, the 90s was just a banger year all around, but
jam-packed.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Point Break, Hook. This year was loaded. I'm telling you. Beauty and the Beast.
Dude, let me interrupt real quick for that movie that we were just discussing. It happened in the 30s. It's a movie called It Happened One Night. Probably I'll never end up watching that movie, unfortunately. That's a little bit past my time. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, though, that is a banger, though.
That is a great movie.
It Happened One Night. I kind of want to watch it just because it's won all that stuff.
Yeah, just to maybe knock it off the list since it's the only of the 3.
You know, one thing that was really interesting, reading about this, like the kind of the background of this character Hannibal and kind of like his storyline. Did you all ever see Michael Mann's Manhunter?
No, isn't it the prequel to this?
Yeah, it is the prequel to this. I think is it Brian Cox, the actor? He plays Hannibal, and the movie was extremely unsuccessful. Like, this is kind of like after Michael Mann had done Thief, so this is obviously before the 90s with Heat. But this movie was that movie was so unsuccessful. He ended up giving the rights away, and then this movie is made, and they killed it at the box office. I mean, I think they ended up making $272 million is one of the figures I saw.
Yeah, only on a $19 million budget.
Yeah, and that's $264 million more than Michael Mann's Manhunter made.
You're missing that secret sauce. Anthony Hopkins, Jodie Foster.
Dude, honestly though, they did the sequel.
Is it Dragon?
Red Dragon.
Hannibal was the sequel to Silence of the Lamb, and then Red Dragon is is the prequel. It's just like another take. It's not necessarily a remake of Manhunter. It's just another take of the book that came out. Which, I mean, compared to Silence of the Lamb, though, it doesn't really compare as much because it did financially well and it's still like considered like critically successful, I suppose. It didn't get like a rotten score or anything like that, but it's just not held in as a high regard as Silence of the Lamb is, though.
Yeah, and it's always interesting to think about like just how casting choices, like people passing up on this role, really worked out for the better because Gene Hackman was originally tied to this project as a director and he was going to star in it. He passed on it because he thought it was really dark. Sean Connery was one of the earlier considerations for Hannibal Lecter. They passed on him.
Yeah.
Dude, Michelle Pfeiffer, she was I think she was the original person they had in mind to play Clarice. But again, with the content, she's like, no, I don't want to do this. This is a little dark.
It is. I mean, it is pretty dark.
It's also interesting coming from Gene Hackman because he's literally fresh off of Mississippi Burning. And that's dark as fuck.
Yeah. I mean, I guess everything always happens for a reason, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like when I was watching this is a first time watch, I suppose, for me, watching it all the way through. I've seen this movie in bits and pieces here and there, and I've kind of knew where it was going and everything. So nothing too surprising happened. There were a few surprises though. But just watching like Anthony Hopkins like transform into this role and seeing how he is like in interviews, like talking like regularly as Anthony, man, he like really like dove really, whether we call it method or anything like that, but like just his voice and the way they have his eyes and everything like that. Yeah, like no obviously, blinking. I mean, very little blinking. I was like, is this dude having a staring contest or something? But the way they shoot, especially like in certain scenes when he's talking with Clarice and they just like have him centered on the camera, zoomed in on his eyes and everything. I'm like, man, the performance by Anthony Hopkins and obviously the way they shoot his scenes and everything. But I'm thinking this dude had to do some work because he was married. I'm not sure if he still is and has kids and all that type of stuff. I'm like, to be a woman to go out with Anthony Hopkins probably back in his time when he was doing this role, I'm like, this dude would have creeped me the fuck out because he obviously did that role so well.
Yeah, like the first scene where they meet, like he's like, "Let me see your badge," and then it just is like him staring into her eyes for like a few seconds. That's like really intense.
Dude, I was trying to count to see if he was actually blinking. I was like, is this a performance choice to just like really have like that like 1,000-yard stare? But I mean, he does blinking on that, but I think it's very just little and very quick.
Yeah, no, I mean, you bring up a good point, and I definitely want to give a shout out to Tak Fujimoto. That's a cinematographer. He also coincidentally worked with M. Night Shyamalan, but I love the extreme close-ups that you get in this movie. Even like the long shot that we get as Clarice is walking down past the prisoners. We get that narrow kind of like little corridor all the way past the other inmates, or the other patients, however you want to call them that. And then we see Hannibal and he's standing and he's watching. Like that whole scene, like the whole intro to him was really great. And funny enough, I read that he, one of the inspirations for the character Hannibal Lecter was Hal from your favorite 2001: Space Odyssey.
Oh God!
So like the android, really? it kind of lit. I can kind of hear Truman Capote. I think was another inspiration for like just like the intonation and how we talk. But he does kind of have a very like unnaturally calm demeanor about him, and you can tell he the way he watches, to your point about without the blinking, he very much has like a predator or reptilian kind of like vibe to him.
And like what
I don't know if you picked up on
he did a good job being like unsettling.
Yeah, and like they mentioned like when he killed somebody, I can't remember precisely who it was, but they mentioned that his heart rate didn't like go above 85.
That was when he the nurse.
Yeah.
The nurse.
And so it's like very little. There's a moment where he kind of raises his voice towards Clarice when he's like, "I will listen now," when he's in the Memphis facility. Like he just, like you said, with his voice and everything, he's just like very calm, but he doesn't like raise his voice like naturally, like some like regular person would, like start screaming or yelling at her. He just like keeps it like kind of like one note, very monotone. So I can see like some Hal inspirations behind that, although that movie is not my cup of tea
for sure. But I mean, I think what's also amazing to think about, and similar to, that's right, Cisco, you guessed it, Jaws.
Anytime you want to throw Jaws in.
Hannibal Lecter is on the screen, but like around like 16 minutes. He doesn't have a lot of screen time. Similar, like I was saying with Jaws. Like, so I mean, I think like for somebody who is on screen for a small amount of time, because this movie is 118 minutes. So I mean, for somebody who's on approximately like 16 minutes, for him to have such a presence and to really drive the story. I mean, I don't feel like there's any wasted time in this movie that I can think about. I mean, even from the beginning, right, where we see this woman who's running through the woods. We don't really have any context, but we're learning that, okay, this is Clarice Sterling. You know, she's not an FBI agent yet, but we're also kind of seeing like so much of this world through her eyes, and also the eyes of the other men around her on her. Mm-hmm. We see that when she's in the elevator. We see that when she meets what is Hannibal's doctor's name? Chilton. Frederick Chilton. When she meets him, like the way he's hitting on her, the interactions where they go to see one of the victims whose body's been pulled from like a river, and the way that all the policemen are kind of looking at her. Like we're very much experiencing this as a woman through her woman's lens. It's also amazing to think about is like the FBI actually was very supportive of this movie. They actually were thinking that this could help boost recruitment for young women, and I'd be curious to see. Similar to like Top Gun, did they see an uptick in applications to join the FBI from women specifically? You know?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if they actually have like some sort of study out like that. That'd be kind of interesting.
You know, they were like, Quantico, what's that? But like the way that we are kind of seeing, the way that we're introduced to her is really effective, and we meet her with Jack Crawford, and he is describing to her. Well, Hannibal Lecter, and he tells her the one thing you don't want to do is let her in her head. And what does she do? He lets her sight inside of her head. But like the transition from that, where he's like, never forget what he is. And then we cut immediately to Chilton. Oh, he's a monster. Mm-hmm. Like all this kind of groundwork that's laid for us, including the nurse story, before we actually meet this psychopath, like it was super effective.
They also said don't approach the glass, and she does. Like
she did that kind of almost not right away, but very soon.
Yeah, and I was like, that's another interesting. Like, she's willing to break the rules to like get shit done.
Especially like towards the end when he gets transferred to that Memphis facility, when she's able to like kind of walk around the whole cell, and she's just like, we need to find the name, and he's just like, now we got to do a little quid pro quo, and like then she starts opening up about. You know, her upbringing and like the pretty much like why the movie's titled Silence of the Lamb. She gives like her whole backstory and stuff. So she's willing to dive or break the rules and dive further into her own self in order to, you know, solve the case and to help others. So you see that that's one thing I was kind of wondering, like, why is this movie called Silence of the Lamb? I'm not really catching that. But then when she explains her backstory, I'm like, oh.
Wasn't it an effective payoff though as a first time watcher?
Oh yeah, especially like when he gives her the final call at the end. And he's like, did the lambs like are quiet now? He didn't say like exactly like, are the lambs silent? He didn't say anything like that. But the way he puts it and phrases it, I was like, yes, that's. I mean, they tie a very good bow on this movie, all in all. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to go back just real quick to mention because that's something I was aware of. Just through obviously the years of this movie being out, is that it's one of the famous movies where one of the main characters or like such a prominent character is only on screen for 16 minutes or very few time, a little time of the movie. But honestly, like I feel like because they put him in throughout the whole like the first act, second act, and third act, it doesn't really stand out as like, wow, this guy's not even in this movie or anything like that. I agree. It's not like they put that whole 16 at the final act, so it feels like, man, this dude, like, who is this Hannibal guy? Like, who is this dude? The fact that they put him in pretty much immediately in the movie, and then like throughout the middle, and then at the final, it feels just very natural. Like, it didn't really stand out that much, honestly, that he was only in it for 16 minutes.
Well, I mean, that's a great point about the pacing of this movie. Mm-hmm. I think it's super effective when the way that the story unfolds, even when we meet Buffalo Bill. But like, just to linger a little bit more on that scene where Clarice first meets Hannibal, like the way he sizes her up, like Jack Crawford sent a trainee to me. You know, he's just like offended almost. You know, but it really is like the way that conversation kind of falls apart. It's really. No pun intended, a stroke of good luck that Mims does what he does. And fucking that scene where he throws the fucking
I was thinking about that. Like,
that shit. Man. Literally, but that scene though is what,
so gross.
But that scene though is that shit is horrific. But that scene though, that moment right there really saves her efforts with Hannibal.
Yeah.
Because he's willing, he tells her about the
lockup.
Look Within, right? He gives her that. This movie feels like is cerebral because I had to pause and rewind some of this just rewatching it because I've probably seen this movie like maybe a handful of times, maybe 6 times. But I feel like you do kind of have to rewind because he gives her the anagrams and these clues.
Yeah,
and he's not, like it's like I feel like there's like the dialogue is often layered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely didn't try to dig into like any of the anagrams. I'm like, oh, that's what that means.
Yeah. Well, like when she was figuring out Louis' friend, like you could pause it and be like, all right, let's see where the layout is here. I was like, I don't even want to dive too far to it. I didn't want to do that while I was watching it. I was like, because I'll confuse myself.
For sure, but it is a reflection on just how intelligent Clarice is.
Oh yeah, for
you know
sure.
I mean? Like she's very smart. She realizes she is out of her. She's in the deep end of the pool.
Yeah.
Crawford threw her in the deep end, like. And you ain't even got your badge yet. You haven't even graduated yet. Which is kind of insane.
But I guess it's just showing like how capable she is, though.
Yeah, and resourceful she can be too.
Yeah,
I mean, you see that when she's going to, she goes to the storage and she, finds Miss Muffet.
Mm-hmm.
But.
Or even towards the end, like, because I was kind of thinking something was kind of off, because that was like one of the reveals where I was like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that. When she calls up Crawford and he's already on the plane and like, oh, we're heading to the address, we already got him, blah blah blah, but she's still following up.
Yeah, she doesn't give up, which is kind of like, the tenacity.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And then like when they show like the way they shoot it, they're showing Crawford and his cops are at the address and the bell's ringing at Buffalo Bill. I know like the way like they're showing like 3 different people like happen at the same time, so you don't know what's going on, but then Clarice like pops in through the door. I was like, I knew something was fucking off. It was very I'm a fan of the Black Phone movies, and in the first movie, once the reveal happens, you think that this is kind of a spoilerish for you, Sir Fraser, but like, and you? And me. Oh, sorry. But, okay, I won't go any further. But they do a scene like this where it's like you think it's one thing, but it's not the other thing. So like, I definitely got a real good appreciation for that reveal. But another reveal quickly though that really caught me off guard was when Hannibal, all hell breaks loose and he breaks out of the prison in Memphis and the cops are strung up, which is just like, Jesus Christ, oh boy.
How did he do all this?
I know. I'm like, man, he had a lot of time on his hands. But when they think Hannibal's in the elevator and they drag him out, and then they cut to the cop on the gurney, and then they show him taking the skin off, very Texas Chainsaw Massacre style. I was like, oh shit, I didn't expect that. I didn't know about that part of the movie.
The ending is. We're going to spend time on that, but yeah, that's a whole highlight for me.
Yeah, I remembered that he was like pretending to be the cop, but the part where he takes the face off, I was like, oh shit, I didn't remember that part.
Yeah, I do. Cause even the cop that he's like, hold his hand. He's like, what do I say to him? And he's like, that's whatever his name is. You just talk to him, God damn it. And he's sitting there talking. He's like, bro, at no point you can like. But his face is so mangled, I suppose. So he's not, and he's so horrified. He's not really just in the right state of mind. I know, nobody's in the right state of mind. But when he takes that shit off, like, and also props to the makeup and the prosthetics and everything. Damn, that caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that.
No one would think that someone would do that too. It also reminded me of that Office scene where like Dwight cuts the face off with the dummy.
With the dummy,
dude, that shit is so funny.
Like, oh yeah,
that's. He gives us that great line too in that first meeting where he's like. Was a census taker once tried to test me,
and I ate his liver. Yeah.
Some
what's a fob?
Nice Chianti. It's just like
the famous scene.
But one of the things that I did like this with the storytelling again with Clarice, right, where we have that training scene where she's entering and she doesn't check behind the door and she ends up getting capped, right? The way that they circle back to that at the end when she's in the dark at Buffalo Bill's. Mm-hmm. I was also like, God damn, girl, you are so lucky that this motherfucker didn't have that shit cocked.
Dude.
You would have been.
Also, you probably could have just fired without cocking it. Usually they're like double action. You could just pull the trigger.
Yeah, I'm just like, this motherfucker telegraphed.
Dude, but that is so creepy, though, thinking like, because it was like pitch black in there. She can't see shit. And then he's just like,
through his vision.
He's just playing with his food right now.
Bro, that's, I love the way that we went into those visuals. But you see that too when he first abducts Catherine Martin. Where he sees her approaching, and then he plays the trying to get this sofa couch into the van.
God.
Oh man, dude.
Well, man,
he played the hell out of this role too, man. he was so disturbing. Like when she's at the bottom of the well and he says, he gives that iconic line, it puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. I'm like, it's just so eerie. And then when he pulls up the lotion after she puts in the basket, and you see like the bloody claw marks and the nails.
Yeah,
man, it definitely gave me a little bit of some Ring vibes. I ain't gonna lie.
Dude, but I also gotta touch on though, because this scene has been spoofed before, and I can't help but think of like when this happens in the movie Joe Dirt, and so when he's just like, put the lotion in the basket. I just couldn't help but fucking like start laughing. But yeah, shout out to Ted Levine for playing this role like really well. But then also quick little shout out to Scott Glenn, just because I've seen him. He was a dude in Training Day. I mean, why am I thinking of Matrix? Training Day. He gets shot
Crawford.
by he's Alonzo's little buddy. He thinks it's his buddy, but then he ends up coming to his house and robbing him. Roger.
That's rolling, dog.
Yeah, and he plays Stick in the Daredevil MCU series. So like when I saw him, I was like, oh shit. I mean, young, oldish Scott Glenn, but they played their roles really well. So I just wanted to give them a little love.
Going back to Buffalo Bill, like after he brings the lotion up and she's screaming in the bottom of the hole and he's like starts to make fun of her. Mm-hmm. That part I forgot about, where he's like, oh man, that was like really creepy, where he's just like, yeah, like, oh man,
dude. And he plays a villain in I want to say he's the dude in Joyride, that movie with Paul Walker and Steve Zahn, I want to say. I can't remember who. It's actually a pretty good movie. Like they fuck with this dude, this trucker dude, but then he ends up stalking him throughout the whole movie, and you just hear his voice too, and like he's got that type of voice that's like, I won't say iconic like a James Earl Jones or anything like that, but the way like his voice like comes across, like yeah, he does have a very villainous type of look and sound to him.
I mean, dude, that scene where he is dressed like he's dressed as a woman and he's performing for the camera, like that whole scene was like so deeply unsettling.
Yeah, because he's wearing the scalp of another person.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until like he got closer up, and then you see like a little skin. Yeah, I was like, oh shit.
That scene is wild when we see him actually stitching the flesh under the sewing machine. This movie, yeah, man, it is gnarly. One of the things I didn't read up on was like this, like the new kind of press this was getting, because this kind of was one of the. I mean, this is kind of one of its kind at that time, because I mean they did a pretty good amount of research. What's the guy they relied? Was it Douglas? Somebody who had basically spent a lot of time. John Douglas. He was the one who he was a FBI profiler, but he spent a lot of time with the actor Scott Glenn, who played Jack Crawford. And so I mean, this was actually like there was a good amount of like research that was leveraged in writing the story and crafting these characters, and just thinking about like how was society responding to this? Like was it like a lot of pearl clutching? Like this movie. I mean, obviously we see a lot of people passed on it because they were like, this is too dark. I don't want to do this. And then this is kind of like they talk about procedural dramas, like procedural kind of where you see a lot of the stuff. The investigations unfurling, like kind of unfolding in the background. This is definitely one of those before Special Victims Unit, CSI, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I feel like
Law and Order
for the time period, I think it was like intense, but compared to now, not really. It's funny.
It's
that
now
one
it's
scene where like Buffalo Bill is dancing and it kind of focuses in on his nipple ring.
Oh,
that was
bro!
Because I'm like, that's so funny that you're like, oh, we gotta focus it on that. Look at this guy.
I still get a little grossed out when I was like, I didn't need to see any of that part. It's just like when I'm not sure if you guys seen the movie The Substance.
Oh yeah.
But there was a moment where like they zoom in on Dennis Quaid and he's eating the shrimp.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's arguably one of the grossest scenes in the movie. And that's saying a lot if you've definitely seen that movie. But yeah,
use those close-ups responsibly.
Dude, another thing too about that scene, I'm sure that song is forever ruined. I think it's "Goodbye Horses." Dude, every time that song comes on, you just can't help. If you've seen this movie now, you can't help but think of this scene.
Well, what a scene I can't help but think about because it's been so long. Clerks 2, where Shay does this, where in front of like the fast food restaurant, like tucks him.
Exactly.
I forgot about that.
Oh my god,
such a wild movie,
dude.
Another song that's like that is the Reservoir Dogs song. I feel like you always go there when you hear that song.
Yeah, exactly.
Ear cut off?
Yeah. When,
Stuck in the middle with you or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a crazy thing.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, man. I know we might as well go ahead and talk about this. Whenever we're watching this movie, and this is after Clarice is promised, this really nice island, where you'll be able to go into the beach, under close supervision, of course. But she basically gives him this bullshit
phony deal.
And Chilton has been recording the cut to when Chilton is actually listening to the recording of everything. That was a great cut, and we're learning that this foul motherfucker. He actually is not. He goes to Hannibal and he told him this is a dummy deal. Like, you're not going to get anything. They played you. And for a moment, we're like, wait, is Chilton lying?
Yeah.
Because he's a slimy motherfucker.
He just wants the credit, too.
Yeah. But that whole scene, right, where he kind of learns that he can get a deal with the politician if they're able to save her daughter in time, right? Catherine. And that scene, right, where he's looking at the pen and we're just like, God damn it, how did he get the pen? It's like nerve-wracking because it's like, but like he's brilliant, obviously, but you're just like, damn it, how did he do it?
Dude, that's something I like I said, we mentioned it off mic, but dude, like I rewound it because I was like, maybe like he wasn't in the straitjacket, maybe like they just had him in the little cage or whatever, just strapped up, and like maybe his hands were free that he could have just somehow finessed it. Yeah. But I'm like, this motherfucker is in a straitjacket for like throughout that whole time, and then even when they wheel him into to meet the senator, which is a highlight scene in itself too. But that's also something that kind of bugged me. It's not gonna like deter my score or anything like that. I don't think it's like gonna like a huge like plot hole or anything like that. But that is something where I was like, man, I wish they could have like showed something or maybe done something a little more to like show how he got that damn pen. Because how the fuck did he get it?
I'm sure they let him out of the straitjacket at some point because they're gonna keep him in that all the way until he flew in the airplane.
But it's oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, they do a good job of like, not showing things in the movie. Like there's the pen, there's the picture where he's like, oh, the nurse leaned over and he like fucked her up. And then there's also like the body that when they first like dig the body out and like they're putting on like the Vaseline or the menthol stuff. They don't show it, but like I don't know. I think that was kind of cool. They leave it up to your imagination.
It also like with like right after that scene with the pen. And then he walks in and he wants to sign the paperwork or whatever, and then he's like looking for it.
And close up on Hannibal.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like that's why I said like it's not a huge thing, but it's also like, man, I kind of wish, but like they do enough to infer that like, yeah, he got his hands on that thing, and he's done enough to this point to know that he's definitely just smarter than what he may appear to be.
Oh yeah, he's a genius.
All it takes is a pen, and like he's gonna fuck people up.
Oh yeah.
That's another thing. It was like the cops and they're like they didn't really treat him with enough respect. I feel like if I was like watching him, I would be like, "You take your gun out, keep it on him while I go in there." Like I'd be much more serious about it.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the big puzzle pieces was finding, going back to the body that's on the table. That whole scene, that finding the death's head moth in the victim's mouth. That right there was a huge puzzle piece. And when she ends up arriving at Buffalo Bill's place and she sees those.
The moth, yeah.
I was also kind of thinking, because Buffalo Bill's an idiot. Why didn't he just invite her in here?
He's just overplaying his hand.
Yeah, he was like overconfident.
Exactly.
You got an FBI agent at your door. You think this is random?
Well, I think it also lends it to us like what we mentioned about like her being like a woman in this movie and like everybody looking at her and stuff like that. So he just probably sees this woman, she's by herself. And he's already done it. Exactly. So he's just like, what's another one too? And like she's just like an attractive woman. Well, like he usually goes after the big ones. That's what he said.
He also was like pumping her for information. Or he's like, oh, what does the FBI know? Did they find fingerprints or anything?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that scene. When she sees the moth, she's like, all right, here he is.
You want to know? But like, here's like a small little nitpick, just because I was just like, why wouldn't? Because like she mentions when she's obviously going through, she's chasing Buffalo Bill through the house, or not really chasing him, but just like pursuing him. And she mentions to Catherine when she comes across her And they're like, oh, the other cops are on their way. But I was like, you didn't even show that. You could have just maybe showed her, like maybe calling in some backup. That it's just a small detail.
I didn't think she had time, but I thought she said that so that like Buffalo Bill would think
she was bluffing. I thought that she was bluffing.
Well, was she? Okay.
Yeah, that's why I thought
She's like, she wanted Buffalo Bill to think, oh, people are coming, so I should run away. Or
Yeah.
Okay, well then that makes more sense because when she was like, oh, the cops come, I'm like, when did she call him back up? You could
100% bluffing. I thought.
Okay, because I was like, it's not a big thing, but I was just like, okay, well that kind of clears it up.
So a lot of that M part couldn't work today because of like people would have their cell phones. She would have been able to call back up. She also had a flashlight on her phone, so when you turn the lights off, she'd just be like, boom, flashlight.
I know. Why she didn't have a flashlight on her just in general?
Most people don't carry flashlights though. She wasn't expecting to run into the murderer.
There's a lot of people in the authorities. Like I feel like Mulder always had a flashlight near.
Well, like, oh yeah, like, well, especially like if she was a cop too, like you would think like maybe she has her gun handy, maybe she just has that flashlight. So
she was a trainee. She wasn't even fully FBI yet.
Yeah. Well, I guess that shows her like, although she is capable, she is still inexperienced though too.
That is a great point because I mean you would think that in that moment, rather than pursue this person by yourself, you would fall back. You already know the location. Mm-hmm. If he leaves, you can make a move. But I would think the priority would be for someone in her inexperience. Given her inexperience, would be to call him back up first.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, like especially, I guess it depends. Like, how much did she think that was the guy when she opened the door? Like, I feel like if you got the vibe that it was.
I'm talking about after she lost sight of him, after he dipped, after she had already pulled her gun on. I'm talking about that.
Yeah, I guess
just think about it. The door's right behind her. He's going in the opposite direction. She could have made it to her car safely.
I guess she only thought like, oh, he's gonna get away then, because like she'd have to go far to get to the phone.
I mean, but if he's driving, I'm following.
But honestly, that's kind of what I thought. Like as soon as like he came out of it, like he ran off and like she's already like, and she took off her coat and everything. I thought she was immediately gonna go be like, Officer Sterling, blah 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 blah. Can he back up? I thought she was gonna do something like that. But also, like you mentioned, maybe she just wasn't expecting, like obviously expecting to run into the murderer. She's just kind of pursuing just other leads because she is under the impression that Crawford's already nailed the dude.
Yeah, she thought someone else was living in that house when she gets there. She was asking about some lady. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, she is prepared. She still has her gun, thankfully. But yeah, that was just a small nitpick, I suppose, for myself.
I love the scene. I love the whole sequence of Hannibal escaping. When he gets to jump on the cop and he gets to hold that baton. We really see what he can do. And the way that he outwits the police through use of the elevator, all of that, man. And then the reveal that he's actually in the ambulance. Oh man, that was just a whole and it was like back-to-back bangers because we had Buffalo Bill getting got, and when she shot him. That was like that whole sequence was great, and then we get Hannibal's escape, and then and then we kind of have this like brief kind of lull, right, where Clarice gets, she graduates. There's that weird kind of like sexual tension between her and Crawford. It was kind of interesting, and also odd too to think about like the father figures in this movie are on the one side of the spectrum. You got Crawford, a man of the law, and then on the other side you have Hannibal Lecter. And that's like just.
Well, that goes to the sequel. I mean, do you know what happens in the sequel?
Hannibal. Talking about Hannibal?
Hannibal and Clarice.
I don't remember. I've seen it. I remember watching Hannibal.
Well, like they end up having like a relationship. They like fall in love or something like that.
Oh, weird.
That's part of the reason why.
You're talking about not the Julianne Moore one.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about that one? There was a.
Yeah, well, like in the book, that's what happens.
I just remember the part where he's like eating the guy's brain while he's still alive.
Yeah.
Ray Liotta. Yeah, that's a great scene.
That is a great scene.
But that's part of the reason why Jodie Foster didn't do the movie. It's because she didn't like where like her character went. Yeah, because she like thought it like kind of disgraced the character a bit, which I kind of do. It's like now all of a sudden in the sequel you end up having a relationship with Hannibal. I'm like, I don't know if I jive with that.
Yeah,
it is weird.
Yeah.
I do want to read the book though.
Yeah,
I'm interested to read the book though. Yeah,
I wonder how different it is. I'm hoping it has like more meat on the bone.
Yeah, like just more nuances.
I'm sure it does, especially with some of these characters' backgrounds. It probably goes into more about Hannibal's background as well as Clarice.
Yeah, like the thought process behind like why they do what they do more.
Yeah, I love the call that he gives her. Also, I was like, how did you get her this number? How did you know she was going to be? Like, all these things. But like that scene where he calls her and
I'm having a friend for dinner.
Oh, man. I got to go now, but I having an old friend for dinner. That's such a
dude. And then you see,
just stalking him.
Yeah, dude. That's why I was like, man.
Stuck the landing.
Yeah, I was like, this was a great movie, man.
Yo, Dr. Chilton looks stressed when he got off that plane. He was like looking around, like talking to his mans.
Yeah.
Man, he has to know
the
that
security's there, right?
him.
He's on that list. The top of that.
Yeah, he's like
list.
number one.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Well, with that, you want to
pivot to scores? Yeah. You want to kick us off?
Like out of what?
5?
Out of 5? I'll give it a 5. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you?
Man, this for me is a 4.5. I love this movie. It's a really great movie. It's not typically the kind of vibe that I usually go for, but I do appreciate these kinds of crime thrillers, similar to Seven. Even I think Seven I put a little bit ahead of this one for me personally, more because of the 1-2 with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. Like I think that forms like a really great relationship within that story, but this is a high on that list for me. Very deserving of the praise. Age as well. I love the palette of this movie. Like it's very, like the palette's a lot of blues and grays. It very much fits just like the tone of this movie. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan. It was really fun rewatching this. I think it's still to this day the best of the trilogy that I've seen in Manhunter, Silence of the Lambs, and Hannibal. But yeah, worth a rewatch if you guys haven't seen this in some time, and definitely worth watching if you've never seen it before. Man,
it is actually going to join the illustrious 5-star club for me.
Oh wow!
Yes, sir.
Impressed. Damn.
Yeah, because I mean, I was a little hesitant, I suppose, because honestly, I was going to throw this out there. I'm not a huge fan of the poster. I'm just not a huge fan. Yeah, I don't really like it.
Iconic poster.
I know it's iconic, but I just don't really like it. I just don't fuck with it. I don't know.
I mean, he hates on Endgame, and
because those are just so generic, man. Those are just the floating heads, man.
Well, okay, well, hold up. Now I got a question for you. Give me your Rushmore of movie posters.
Man, you're putting me on a spot here.
Yeah,
well,
that's a hard one.
I know, man.
Well, like I don't know if it's my
first 4 that come to mind.
Yeah, I'll give you my first 4 that come to mind. Like, Jaws is an iconic poster.
That's right.
Although I'm not a huge fan of the movie is enjoyable and it's good. Jaws is up there. The Thing is definitely up there. Terminator, both Terminators are up there. The original Evil Dead is up there.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, those are a couple right there. So. Not
Empire
necessarily.
Strikes Back. That's another good one.
Which one?
Empire Strikes Back.
Oh,
even
yeah, that's it.
Star Wars one is great.
That
one is. That might be their best one to me.
Hold on, which is one is like when he's like holding the lightsaber up there, like that. Is that the first one? Yeah, that's pretty iconic too.
Yeah, because the second one has like Vader and like he's like kind of like the outline.
Yeah,
like his helmet.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. But yeah, it's going to join the 5-star club for me, man.
How many 5-star movies do you have?
Not a whole lot.
Okay.
I know I got like Toy Story 3 up in there, and maybe the first one in there because just a little bit more nostalgia. What else might be in there? Mad Max Fury Road might be up in there for me.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. That's an iconic.
Yeah, those are a few. Oh, maybe even like a T2 is up there too for me.
Yeah, that's a good one. Aliens
is probably up in there for me too. Yeah, those are some classics though too, some bangers. So like, you got to be pretty good to join the 5-star club for me. But like, just watching this on a not a rewatch, but a first time watch. Like I said, the pacing was great. The performances are fantastic. Even like just like the makeup with like when like the kills come in, the third act is fantastic, and like it just wraps up the movie in a perfect way for me. And I don't really have any, like I said, there was some little small nitpicks here and there, but like what movie doesn't have at least a couple little jabs that you can throw at it and whatnot. But all in all, it's a very well made movie, and I understand why the hype is real and why it's rated so high amongst like fans and critics.
Yeah. All right, well, that is our episode for this week. Stay tuned. We'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.
Later.